Hello antique lovers, this is Deanna from Vintage Touch, and it is that time of the year again when everybody is pulling out Christmas decorations and getting ready for the big holiday. This time I would like to share with you some of the highlights, if you will, of my primitive Christmas, showing you some of the elements that I use in decorating for the country primitive theme, and also to show you that everything that you use in a country primitive Christmas decoration does not have to have a Christmas theme per se, but whenever you incorporate it in with your other Christmas decorations, it has a very quaint country feel to it that is indicative of the primitive look. Here on the table, I just want to start. This is a feather tree with, it's probably about a 3-foot feather tree. And it has the nice little redwood base. It stands right here in the middle of my dining room table, just all by itself, and on the top it's adorned with just a simple Victorian beaded star. What I have used in the center of the table to anchor this piece is an early towel that has printed on it December 25, 1854. And just something simplistic like that, which is what primitive Christmas is all about, the simplicity of it. You can see right there that it's a very simple arrangement, but yet it adds wonderful country flair. So I want to move on to the next element. So if you will join me. This vignette that I want to share with you is a display that I have made right here on my dining room hutch. Now those of you who have watched my videos in the past and know anything about the way that I decorate, I do not put away all of my antiques in order to decorate for another holiday or another event. And so you will see, as in this particular arrangement, that I have brown transferware plates in the background there of this display. The brown transferware plates are generally on display most of the year, and so I do not take them away for this. I think it adds an element of wonderful country primitive appeal, and so I keep them there. But I do add things like, on the right here is a nice old ironstone buttermilk pitcher that is well modeled, and I love the wear and tear that you see on antiques. I think it adds to the distinctive primitive charm. This one even has a nice little spider is what they call that, the way that it has broken out there on the surface. Again, that type of thing makes pieces one of a kind and distinctive. And so I filled that with just some holly and foliage for Christmas and set that to the right. In the center is a grouping that I've used, and you probably see a lot of these elements. Well, I know you will. If you look at my video channel and watch some of my other videos, you will see many of these primitive elements that I use in other displays, used in different ways. I try to change them around. This leads to a variety of interest, and it helps me with getting creative, that I don't just do the same old thing. So you might want to keep all of that in mind when you put yours together, that just put all of your primitive antique pieces together and start from the beginning and see what you can build using them every year. This grouping is a group of early celluloid reindeer, and these are the ones that have the sparkly surface and the red eyes. I just love them. I love bottle brush trees, and so I've added a lot of those in around this grouping. This is all anchored in a red wicker basket that I use many different ways throughout the year. And then that just gives this whole arrangement that anchor that it needs, and country charm all the way. Then on the left side here, I've just taken pewter pieces. That is a great choice, pewter is, for your country primitive look. And I've taken a simple little sugar bowl and added faux Christmas decorations there that's sparkly and so forth, and set that in front. It's anchored on a braided mat that's popular for antique primitives. And let me just pull back here so that you can get the whole effect, hopefully. And that's another one of my arrangements. This arrangement is my mantle in my dining room, and I have it filled with my clay face Santa collection. I've done a little different arrangement with it this year. It's similar, probably year in and year out. I have had paper mache Santas, and I sold the paper mache Santas. Pretty much all of them are gone now, and opted to just use clay face Santas as I built my collection. That's a thing that you can do whenever you're building a collection. Just trade up, trade out, and use things differently. On this display, I'm not going to go into great detail because these are just highlights, but you see the Santas I've tried to find nice little elements to add to the collections, like the little staircase there and the little steps. I've got a clock in the center with a spray, Christmas spray over top. On the right, just simple things that I find many times, particularly like that little backboard there. I don't even know what that came from. It's old, it looks primitive. It makes a nice little display piece behind my Santas. You can see they're in all various sizes of the Santas are, and that some of them are very active in some of the positions and things that they're in. And so I want to go down here to the left of the mantle to show you. Now this is just one of those slim trees that you tuck into a corner. But I have anchored it with a primitive little step stool bench type piece there on the bottom. I have my doorstop, my dog doorstop there, just using early tinsel to wrap around the tree, and then crowning it at the top with the nice tinsel star. Beside that tree is my large Santa. He reminds me of a clay face Santa because he's got the same look, but it is really like a stocking knit piece, and I believe he was probably a store display from the early 1900s. And then beside him, I just have displayed 3 of those towware chests, tin chests, that you often see in primitive settings. And I've got graduated sizes there beside him. And if I can pull back here so you get the full effect. That is my Santa display on the left side, I guess, as you're looking at it, mantle in my dining room. Another little vignette that I have set up here. This is a little different from other years, but like I said, I use things differently in different ways year after year. And in this particular little vignette, I have just these woolly puts, stick-legged sheep. There's a little herd of them, of 5 different sizes. And they're sitting on an old checkerboard, wood checkerboard. To the right, I have an early postcard that has a beautiful Santa on him. I've added some decorative Christmas elements. And I've hung a bottle brush wreath there that has that beautiful muted color ribbon. I love things that are muted and subdued. And so, as you can see, it's just a little display there with a oil lamp on one side. Those things were not put away. Those things were here before. And then sitting there right above is another towelware little chest. Again, using your primitive pieces in decorative ways at Christmas just adds to the charm. This is a simple little vignette that I have here set up on a Windsor back chair in my kitchen area. I've just taken a sample unadorned wreath, green wreath, and tied with a gingham ribbon there onto the back. And then I've taken my Amish rag dolls that I love, and I don't put them away for these holidays. I bring them out and use them, and they're in a nice old antique splint basket, and they're holding a large kugel ornament. Simplistic elements add to the country decor and just give it, again, that quaint look. My kitchen table is a simple adornment using an antique woven coverlet, a piece of it as a table cover. No, I did not destroy a very good coverlet. I would never do such a thing. This one was very ragged, and I was able to salvage out enough to make chair covers as well as this center arrangement, which is you just don't want to throw away a scrap of anything. There's something you can do with it, even when it's damaged. The centerpiece here has my pewter Santa candy mold, and it sits in an oval pewter old primitive dish. I've just added the decorative element of little sprigs of pine and rose hips. That's all that's necessary sometimes to just add that Christmas look and that Christmas addition to your arrangement. Let me pull back here so that you can get a look at this. In the back there, you can see in the corner, it's my avatar and rag doll, that inspired vintage touch. Another element that I add to my Christmas decorations every year is my Nativity Scene. And this one is set up in my foyer in my house as you're coming in my door. And it's just on a small entry table here. If you look at some of my videos from the past, you will see detailed instructions about how I built the arrangement and so forth. And that's true of most of the elements that you're going to see. That there are similar videos, but they're for each element, and they will show you in great detail what I do. So this particular video, I'm just giving you the highlight of the element. These pieces started out, they're just, they're old Italian nativity figures that you often buy in a set, but by adding various elements to this scene, it just comes alive with a little bit more interest than just the figures by themselves. The only difference with this one, I guess, from the one that I did a video on is the table cover there. I'm using a doily this year that's got a lacy look. And I've added at the top here, this is a beautiful little booklet. It's a Victorian booklet that says, "Teach me to love thee," with a little child on the front, and I thought that was just adorable. And what hangs above this display, and this is going to be hard because you're going to see my reflection, unfortunately, but this is just a flue cover. If you know what those are, they hung over, they decorated the area that a stove flue was in the wall. And this is a gentleman, an old gentleman obviously, with his wrinkled up old Bible that he is studying there, and I just think that is just a precious scene. So let me pull back here and see if I can get far enough back that you can get a better idea of what the whole display looks like. In my dining room, I have set up here on a little dessert bar that we have a group of paper mache and cotton spun snowmen. These are my wonderful little snowman collection that I have, and I've taken just an antique wood fencing. Now, you know, this fencing, it was much bigger and longer, but I just took out those many sections so that I could use it here to simulate snow. I've added a large round doily there with a lace edge. Again, some of those things you can get very inexpensively if you're not afraid of a little bit of damage, and it doesn't really matter. So there they are, and I've got them you know, elevated a little there so that they can, they will look like they're in different, like the snow is mound up, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you can see him from different directions here as you walk in to my room. There's a nice little table arrangement here that I've using again children's storybook and Christmas postcard. I thought that postcard, the image on that was very similar to the one on the book, so I used that there with the book in this particular vignette. I've added a little Christmas decoration there and pulled out my Victorian printed cloth doll there, and behind him is a paper mache Christmas tree. It's kind of unusual to find the paper mache trees. This is another little vignette arrangement here that I have. I hope it photographs well because I've got the window behind me and that may interfere with it somewhat. I love to decorate with early children's books and postcards, and so I've used them here in this arrangement along with some little tin cups here in the front. Santa is there on a telephone, a stick telephone. I sold the one stick telephone that I had, the toy phone, and I should have kept it. But I do have that little sweet piece there, that phone, and so I've just set that up with some little Christmas ornamentation there and anchored it with a lacy doily. And then in the center of this arrangement is just an inexpensive vintage little Christmas tree on top of a stacked 2 antique bandboxes with a doily to simulate some snow there, and just streaming down the side are some old green wood beads. Very simplistic. That's all it requires to get that primitive look. Doesn't require a lot of elaborate decorations. Just use what you have, be creative, and you will be surprised. This is the mantle that I've done in my family room, and it is going to be a little difficult to photograph because of the spotlight that is over that primitive print, which is the focal point over my mantle. That print generally stays right where it is. I don't usually change it. I build my displays and things around it. I'm going to try to zoom in here so that you can see on the right the bottle brush trees that I've used in this display on this mantle are the large variety. They are getting difficult to find. These are between 12 and 14 inch tall bottle brush trees, so if you see any of those you want to grab them. This Santa is in this great cast iron sled with reindeer that comes out from the bottle brush trees, and as you can see there's the doilies that hang down that look like icicles. I've used those on other mantles, and you've probably seen those in some of my other videos, and I apologize for that reflection right there. Again, that is because of the lighting. On this side I have just built using these village houses and bottle brush trees and batting for snow. I've tried to make it in different levels so that you can, I'll try to move this up a little bit so you can see it a little better, and it is really difficult because I can't really see what I'm photographing here. I'm holding it up, so I hope you're seeing that. And I'll pull back here again. So you can see the whole effect. On this little tabletop is a parade of early 1900s postcards. This is a series postcard set, and I really like to get the series cards sometimes because they are attractive when you display them together like this. This little set of 3 are John Winch series from the early 1900s, and they are on display here in needlepoint flower frogs. They are New Year's cards, and so they will stay out for the new year, but I just really love the little snow scenes and the children with their sleds and so forth. And just something simple like postcards on display can add a sweet little decorative element to your country display. This is another little vignette, and this sits to the side of my fireplace. It's got a little antique child's piano there in the back that anchors the scene. I pull out my teddy bear collection along with one of my Raggedy Ann dolls. I use Christmas children's books, and I just build that little arrangement there. Again, you do not have to put away all of your antiques when it's Christmas time. Just add a few Christmas elements to the display. Even a little display like this one here on the other side has a Christmas look whenever you just add a simple little green pine wreath. And then, of course, the main attraction at Christmas time is the large Christmas tree that I decorate in my family room. This one is an artificial tree that stands about 6 feet tall. I use the lacy white tablecloth as a tree skirt and petalwood at the bottom. I generally do it with white bows so that my antique ornaments will stand out. I'll show you a few of my favorites. Again, I have a video that's in more detail of the tree, but I'll show you some of the highlights here and how I top it with a big white bow at the top. I love the oxidation that you see on these old ornaments. I'm very partial to wear. And the signs of age. Again, it's what makes antiques an antique. It wouldn't be one if it looked shiny like it just came from the department store. I even have some little ones that are like musical instruments. There's so many that you can get. Beautiful embossed ones. And that one there is from World War II, and the top of that is cardboard, or paper, I mean, rather than a metal cap, because they were saving metal for the war effort. And so, that's my tree this year. That's the crowning highlight of Christmas. And I'm thankful that you have taken the time to see the highlights of my primitive Christmas, and hope you will check my channel. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this type of video and if you would like to see more. And all comments, questions are welcome. Check the video description for links to where you can find me on the web. Have a wonderful Christmas, and thank you for watching.